Wow, thank you guys all for joining us and remembering Mom. I'm going to read her obituary, the story of her life, as a way of remembering her. Jacqueline Ray Smith was born in St. Paul, Minnesota on December 2nd, 1952, to Reverend Richard and Mrs. Louise Colenso. Jacqueline was the second of three children. Her older sister Judith preceded her in death, and her younger brother David and his wife Maureen live in northern Wisconsin. Jacquie lived in St. Paul until 1957, when she moved with her family to Reamer, Minnesota. In 1958, they moved again to Cass Lake, Minnesota, where Reverend Colenso served as the director of the Mokahum Indian Bible Institute until 1965. The family then moved from Cass Lake to Appleton, where Jacquie's father served as the pastor of the Appleton Alliance Church. She graduated from high school and attended Crown College while living in Appleton. In 1974, Reverend Colenso was called to be the pastor of the Pasadena Alliance Church in Pasadena, California. Jacquie and David followed their parents to Pasadena. Judith stayed in Appleton and married Mark Rather. Braun Smith was attending the Alliance Church in Pasadena when Reverend Colenso and his family arrived and he assumed the pastorate. Braun clearly remembers the first time he saw the shy young Jacquie in the foyer of the church. And little did he know that she would become his wife 2 years later. Braun remembers being intrigued by Jacquie's quiet, graceful manner, and he wanted to get to know her better. So he did what any young bachelor would do. He asked her to help him move from his cockroach castle in Hollywood to a modest back house in Pasadena. The perfect first date. The romantic first moving date led to a bike ride. And before long, Braun and Jacquie were going steady. After most of a year had passed, one of Braun's friends at church asked, "When are you going to pop the question?" So that very night, on a Sunday night in Jacquie's Hill Street, Pasadena apartment, Braun sat Jacquie down in a beanbag chair and asked her to be his wife. They were married in July of 1976 by Jacquie's father. By 1980, Braun and Jacquie had decided that they didn't want to spend the rest of their lives in the concrete canyons of Los Angeles. Braun had been playing the role of Stormy the Sailor on Captain Andy Kidd's TV show. They decided that they would make an effort to leave Los Angeles. 9 months later, in the September of 1980, Braun was hired by the Fox TV affiliate in Seattle-Tacoma to play the role of Captain SeaTac. This new opportunity brought Braun and Jacquie closer to Sequim, where Braun was born and raised. While Braun was working at the TV station, Jacquie landed her first job in the education system at Cascade Christian School in Spanaway. There, she learned that she had a special ability for relating to children and a knack for teaching. Her teaching career was put on hold when their first child, Bradley, was born in 1983. 2 years later, their second son, Eric, was born. Jacquie stayed home to raise the boys while watching other children to help with the income. After the boys had reached school age, Jacquie returned to the school system, working as a paraeducator at different public schools in the Puyallup School District. Eventually, she settled into Woodland Elementary School, where she served faithfully until this past fall when she was too ill to return to school. One of the highlights of Braun and Jacquie's life was when their sons, Brad and Eric, sent them to the beautiful tropical islands of Rarotonga in the South Pacific for Braun's birthday. It was truly one of the greatest memories of their lives together. Though quiet by nature, Jacquie had lots of friends and relatives who loved her dearly. They were faithful to the very end, December 20th, when she went to her eternal reward. They came regularly and they cleaned the house for her, brought food, took her to medical appointments, took her for car rides, and pushed her for walks in her wheelchair. Her family will always be grateful to all those who knew her, loved her, and supported her in the last months and then weeks of her life. Jacquie is survived by her husband, Braun, her sons, Bradley and Eric, her daughters-in-law, Carly and Meadow, her grandchildren, Elliot, Taylor and Solomon, and her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Richard Colenso. We have a video up next.